to Las Locas Chronicles.
Loca. I see I went red over there.
Welcome to our uniform. Okay, we cry, we laugh, we reminisce, we talk.
Chunky Jeff.
Amarillo thing. Did I say Amarillo? This is. Hey, loca. I can't hear you, friend.
I said, what's up, Loca? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Las Locas
Chronicles.
Woo!
Come on.
That was a very subtle, very sweet, welcome to Las Locas Chronicles,
Yeah.
So we are live on this Thursday afternoon. It is Independence Day weekend.
Woo! Let's go. Listen.
The 4th of July.
Yeah. How do we feel about that?
I didn't used to like 4th of July. I thought it was boring. Plus, I had a little trauma when I was about maybe 10. My little sister, we went to the beach to watch the fireworks, and because we lived right in front of the beach, and a firework lunged at her thigh and burned her.
Oh.
So since then, 4th of July wasn't always my favorite, it wasn't a thing. But I would say about maybe 4 to 5 years ago, my neighborhood throws like one of the most spectacular 4th of July. Like, I don't know how much money they put in. Like, everybody buys it in Texas. We have these fireworks stands, in New York, and in other places they're prohibited, but we live a little bit outside of the county limits, I guess. And so they have these fireworks stands and people buy them by the hundreds. And I have a hammock and I'm on my hammock and I'm just watching them in front of me. It's like my own private show.
Wow.
I love it.
Fancy.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah. I don't like fireworks personally. Like, you'll never see me out there. Well, first of all, y'all know I'm scared of everything. I've never been on a motorcycle. I don't really like, roller coaster. You already know. I'm like, I can't, Alexa. Can you imagine me lighting up firecrackers?
Nah, I'm not afraid of them, but I won't like them. Like, I've seen too many limbs being lost.
Right. I did get burned by a firecracker when I was young too. And, my dad, he remember those jumping jacks, the ones that turn, that spin, the little firecrackers that spin. So my dad kept telling us, don't play with firecrackers. And here we are in the Bronx. And we all bought some firecrackers without my father's permission and in the bodega. What were we thinking? And so we went to the parking lot and we started lighting them up. And remember, we used to wear those big shorts, back in the yeah, they were like big shorts. They were like baggy shorts.
Okay.
And they threw a jumping jack. I threw it on the wall. It spun back into the bottom of my shorts, and I burned a hole in the back of my leg. And so, I learned real fast. Well, then I couldn't hide that from my parents, right? Because they used to take us to the beach all the time. They used to take us to like Robert Moses Beach. Remember Jones Beach?
Yes.
So my parents liked to fish. So they would take us out there. Well, I couldn't hide it. Like, how was I supposed to hide that? Right. And so I had to go back to my dad. He owned a business. So I walked into the store and I was like, Dad, I hurt myself. And he's like, Rena, how did you hurt yourself? And I said, the firecrackers. He's like, did I tell you not to buy firecrackers? And I'm like, of course, like
that's
so.
It's like the Christmas Story. You're gonna shoot your eye out,
You shoot your eye out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all sure did. But, I would go on the beach and it was like the salt water would turn it because the salt water, like, yeah, it was not good. It was not good.
Brandy's in the house, and Brandy said, "Dang,
Oh,
she said, "Don't traviesa." She said, "Don't be teaching my kids these antics that you
I
got going on."
mean,
What's up, Vicky? What's up? Listen, locas, get other locas on here. We're gonna have a great conversation on this Thursday. Let us know where you're watching, where you're hearing from. Are you at work? Are you on your lunch break? For some of you, for some of us, we forget that it's even Thursday. I
oops,
mean, okay.
girl, we forgot it was Wednesday yesterday.
We sure did. It was like, isn't it Monday? No. What's up, Melissa? She's out there working hard for the money.
Listen, I'm going to talk about a couple trends that are, for me, it's a yes. It may not be a yes for you, and for me, and for some things, it's a no. Like it's an absolute no. And so, I'm going to make a declaration to all my locas out here that if skinny jeans ever come back, it's going to be an absolute no for me. I should have never worn them the first time. And so
what skinny jeans are?
What?
I don't like jeans and I don't like sneakers, but do you know what skinny jeans are?
What?
They're called leggings.
Jean leggings.
Like, what are we doing? What's up, Vicky?
Yeah.
Come on, locas, let's get in. Come on, locas, tuning in from Moses Lake, Washington.
So the trend that I'm
talking about trends. We're talking about trends, and this is like the debate that we had with Martha and Mary, which, by the way, that debate is haunting me right now. But we'll talk about that later. Yes.
Do we have a change of heart? That's what we need to find out.
I just need you to know that I am tribulated by that by that debate right now, because you know what? My Martha apron, I'm trying to hang it up. I'm like, you know what? I'm done doing stuff. I'm done doing stuff. No, I'm not going to your side. I'm not going to your side. I'm gonna be like this.
Like a mummy. Okay. So
trends.
I'm liking. Okay. Loving natural gray hair. I am. And I had started dyeing my hair couple times, but not often because it wasn't so much that I needed to. Like maybe twice a year I was dyeing it. But then like the beginning of this year, I was just kind of feeling like, okay, once you get started dyeing your hair, then it's hard to stop doing it because now you have to be committed. And so now more gray hair is coming. So you can't really see on camera, right? Because everything camouflages here. But I'm getting like patches like right here. Right.
Okay, so, Bride of Frankenstein.
And so anyway, so now I feel that I'm committed to letting my gray hair grow. And I feel like it's a vibe. Okay. So what do you think? Are we, into the gray hair? Are we gonna let it grow? Or are we gonna let me know in the comments, ladies, how many of you are gonna let the gray hair grow, or you're gonna cover it up?
Please let us know. Let us know. So here's my stance on it. Like, first of all, I can't believe I'm 49. Next year I'll be the big 50. That's insane. I don't feel like I'm gonna be 50. I feel like I'm still in my 30s. I still feel strong. Sometimes my knees tell me otherwise, but and it is crazy. I have, for the most part, my hair is all black, but right here on this side only, I have a patch, and I don't know if you could see that, of white hair. Like, it's just from day, like, they started like little tiny, and now I let them grow out because they're so hard to press down. So now they're in there, right? So I feel that until I'm 65, I'm not going to allow myself to think about going all gray.
Okay.
But I do feel that there'll be time to allow the natural to just be natural and not doing it. But I do want to keep my hair the way it is. And it goes for gray and length. Okay.
Yeah.
I am going to keep, I'm growing out my hair right now, and I want it to be the longest it's ever been. But then, yeah, I don't feel that a woman that's above 55 should have long hair.
Really?
I don't like the look. I don't like the look. I
Really?
I love the polished woman with that, short hair. Like it could be a bob, or it could be really short, like Halle Berry. It could be all those things. So I actually have a pin board on how short I'm gonna go. And I'm gonna go the shortest I've ever gone. So
Wow. So you're gonna be embracing your senora era.
exactly. I feel that's
Short
great.
hair.
That's great. Embrace the season you're in. And I look forward to that. That's why I'm not a big fan of women trying to dress like they're 13 again. Like there's a time and place, mommy. Those jeans don't look the same when you were a teenager and
You
playing
know,
sports.
I do feel a little different about that because I love Instagram and I love watching, all the different ladies and all the different fashion and whatever. And I noticed that the people that I follow are older women, probably in their late 50s, early 60s, that are just like real funky looking. They're like wearing the barrel jeans, they got the different color. Like you're like that, you're thinking, why would you even put that together? And then they put it on and they're a vibe. It's their
They're
vibe, right? And
That's
they're very confident in who they are. And
right.
so I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that.
Absolutely. And I feel like you have to find yourself in every season, you know? You have to find
Yeah.
yourself in every season, because sometimes our last season doesn't fit us anymore.
Ooh. Say that for somebody in the back of the room. Listen, you a married woman now, and you still acting like you sing.
You better say that. Okay? You better say that. You better say that. Like,
I
what are we doing?
mean,
What are we
where's
doing?
that
You know,
statement? You know what I
I
mean?
heard
Like,
I heard a story this week, and I can share it because I won't say any names. But I heard a story this week that an older woman, maybe in her 50s, uh, this younger gentleman came over to the house to do some work, and she was he's the spouse to someone, to someone that she knew, and she had never met him before. And when he came in, she was flabbergasted by his fineness,
mm,
by his exclusivity,
that's
by
with her
his
flowers.
by his by his Don Dada. Okay.
Ooh,
and
hello.
and she
Got her
goes,
groove back.
and but she had made a comment to him like, wow, you're fine, right? And she expressed to the wife, like, I didn't know your man was that fine. Had I been my old self, I would have tried something.
Mm.
And I was like, and I know this person, and I was like, ma'am,
Look
had
at
you
this.
tried something, you would have been embarrassed,
Ooh.
because you're not who you think you were years ago. You're nasty. You feel me? Like how you listen, you just got to know your season. You know what I'm saying? Like here we
Season.
have here we have, grandma trying to get her groove back, but baby, that season is past. How you
I
going to try
mean,
to pick up Boaz when you Naomi? Like, I don't understand.
wow. She had to take it to a whole biblical. You Naomi, you trying to pick up Boaz. That's hilarious. But
But
you know
my
what? She knew her place though. She
but
knew her
you
place. That's why she
could
sent Ruth. And she said, ma'am, she goes, I may not be able to uncover his feet, wink, wink, right? But
right.
you can. I'm
But
gonna
you
send you
can't.
to the fields. She
But
said, I'm gonna send you to the fields because I know if I send you to the fields, she said, my room's too old, it's dusty. I can't
oh,
have any kids, I can't have any sons for you. She knew, right? So I know that's good.
that's so good. You have to know your season, you
You have
know? And
you have
and what are you doing? Flirting let's say at 80 to a 30-year-old? What are you doing?
That's
Because if you're a widow at 70 and telling you that you can't have game. I'm not saying holy game. Let's just put it that holy game. But I am telling you, know your season. You in your 80s and you trying to kick it to a 30-year-old. Come on, mama. Let's go. Like let's not every Stella needs her groove back.
oh, rejected. I mean, you're right. You're right, but also right. Also in our own lives, us living in seasons that God's like is clearly over, and you're still trying to hold on to that season, and I mean, people do that all the time, and that's what causes us frustration. That's what causes us heartache. Richie and I at one point when our kids grew up, we were thinking, should we foster children? Should we, and then at some point, Richie and I, had to have a serious conversation, and we said, okay, is it because God is calling us to foster children, or is it because we're sad because our season with our children is over?
Oh, right? That's so good.
Because if God is calling you to do it, He's going to give you the grace to be able to handle that, to go through all the emotions and the struggles that come with fostering children. But if you're doing it to fulfill something within yourself that God never called you to do, then it's going to be frustrating to you. See, when you're doing it because God called you to do it, you're going to find the joy in all of it, even though it's hard. But then frustration comes when we're doing things that God never called us to do. And so we had to come to that realization. And I said, you know what? I think I'm just sad because we are empty nesters now, and that season is over for us. And if God wants to give us children, right? Whether it's foster children, whatever, God will send the children to us because He knows our hearts. And if we know that is God, right, we are going to take care of them like they're our own children, because they will be, right? But again, that comes with being self-aware. A lot of people just not self-aware, they just live their lives just focusing on the thing in front of them, and they're not really taking the time to be introspective about what's happening within themselves. And that's how we have people acting crazy at 80 years old trying to pick up a 30-year-old, because ma'am, what are we doing? Why?
Listen, I love the conversation. I love the conversation because what we're saying is you have to know your season.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to live the current season the right way.
Right. Enjoy the season that you're in. Learn what you need to learn in this season.
I'm getting a little close to the screen for a reason. Okay.
Come on.
Don't be going on the Locas cruise at 80 thinking that you could put on a tanga. Nobody wants to see that.
Wow. Wow.
That season is over.
That season. Well, I mean,
no, listen, there's some women, there's some 80-year-olds again, and we're talking about majority, okay? there's some women that they look fine and they have done the work, and I mean they got everything intact.
Yeah.
Hoorah. Like, but I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. When the nalgas just start like drooping, like we just need, that season is over. That tanga season has passed. Yeah. And we just need to know, we need to live. And I was talking to my girl yesterday. We need to know that in the season that we're in right now, are we benefiting? Are we making the most out of it? Because we're not getting the season back.
No, yes, that's so good.
Right? Yeah. So you have to don't put off tomorrow what needs to be done right now, what needs to be done today.
Yeah.
We're going to take the vacation with our kids. Oh, we're going to do it. We didn't do it this year. We're going to do it next year. And by the time, like you said, your kids were little at one point, but now they got their own lives. Now they're not on mom and dad's schedule.
Right. Now they're going on their own vacations.
Now they're going on. Right. Your daughter went on her own vacation.
She sure is. And she sure did. And she's going to another one.
But that's what I mean. So in other words, because she has a full-time job, she's not gonna be like, Mom, you want me to take this time off, but I already have these 2 trips. My PTO is over. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we need to, and in everything, like there's a season for, like right now I'm an itinerant speaker, and I season of my life. I praise the Lord for the last 20 years. However, there's going to be a time where that phone's not going to ring anymore,
Mm-hmm.
or the messages aren't going to come in, because there's so many other speakers in their season that have a word from the Lord. You know what I mean? So enjoy the season that you're in right now. Enjoy the season. Some people, they have some time off right now. Enjoy your time off.
Yeah. Yeah, and y'all have heard me say this before. I was a stay-at-home mom, and it felt like the longest season of my life, because when you're a person that's always accomplishing, always doing, you know what I mean? It feels like you're sitting around doing nothing. And what I really wish at that moment was that I had a señora who would have sat with me and said,
Yes.
ma'am, you want to be doing ministry, you want to be a pastor, you want to teach, you want to preach, you want to do all these things. But before you can get there, you need to be a good steward of what God has given you here, because this is your first congregation. You know what I'm saying? Your
Yeah.
son, your daughter, your husband, that's your ministry right there, right? And every time you cook a meal, and every time you wash the clothes, and every time you pick up the toys, that you're serving your family, right?
So good.
Jesus came to serve. So who do we need to serve? We need to serve the people that God has entrusted us with. And so I wish that somebody would have, because I spent so much time thinking about the next season, that I didn't really enjoy the season that I was in to the fullest, because I was always looking ahead, right? And
Mm,
so when I opened up my eyes, my kids were already in school. And I was like, how did that even happen? Right? How did that even happen? And so every season with my kids has been that way, right? And
yeah.
so now I'm coming to the age, and this is sad, right? You come to the age where people's husbands and spouses start passing away, and your grandparents, the one passes away, and then the other one passes away months after. Like my grandparents, my grandmother died 9 months later, my grandfather died.
Right.
And then you start thinking about your own spouse, and you start thinking about the time that you have left with your spouse. And then when you think about it in terms of at any moment, right, at any moment your spouse can be gone, or you can be gone. You
What?
start
Right.
thinking, at one day, either you or him, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be alone in that bed, because your spouse is gonna be gone.
That's
And
right.
then
Mhm.
fighting, right, over the clothes, or the socks that he left, or the mess that I made with my makeup. Fighting over those things really doesn't seem important anymore, because
Right.
what seems important when that person is gone, the thing that you're gonna say is, I should have spent more time with them. I should not have fought over the kitchen, or the clothes, or the dishes, or the this, or the that, or the whatever. And we should have spent more time together, right? And
Mm,
so yeah, that's what it means to enjoy the season. But I wish somebody would have told me that when I was
right.
young, right?
That's
And
good.
I think this is why we do this podcast, because we are in that senora era, right? And we are the tias that are going to sit here and shake you and be like, girl, what are we doing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Enjoy those moments with your children while you
Yeah.
making them pancakes.
Right. And today we're the tias. Tomorrow will be the grandmas. Tomorrow we're the
Right.
abuelas. And that is the fact of life. And I want to be a great tia. I think, as we were sharing, I don't know if it was this week or last week, our heart once again for the podcast, it's to pour out what we did not receive. It's to give life nuggets so that other people won't have to necessarily go through them blindly, because everyone has a choice, right? You can hear someone tell you, please don't get into that relationship. That relationship isn't for you, you
Yeah.
know? And because I know I've been there, you can hear that, and you can come up with the conclusion, I'm going to do it anyway. And then you're going to go through your own trial, right? But you were warned, you were told, you were told how to navigate that relationship.
Yeah.
And I feel that seasons, even in our minds, Jess, there was a season where we had great memory.
Yes, correct. And now I'm like, where are my keys? Where's my wallet?
But come on, like honestly, you if I could go back to my younger self and tell her anything, it's really don't focus on what you don't have. Don't focus on your worries. I was a big worrier. Focus on the right now, on making the today the best day.
Yeah.
Just focus on your plans. Like focus, just lock in,
Yeah.
and do the things that you're able to do. Every opportunity, say yes to it, because every season is different. I tell, I was also talking to another sister, and I told her, I want to take the last trips within the next 5 to 10 years, because there's some tricks that require rigorous walking, and you know you're not going to be able to take those trips always.
That is true.
you know how was your trip to Europe? Did you do a lot of walking over there?
It was over 20,000 steps every day.
Yes.
And you're right. It was hard because we had to be taking the luggage on the trains and you got to lift the luggage. And then there were older couples there. And so Richie and I were helping them take their luggages on the tour because they were on our tour. So we were helping them do the and it was hard. And then there was a lot of cobblestone when we were in Italy. And one of the guys that we were with, he had knee replacement surgery earlier in the year. And even though he had a cane that he had been, it was like a portable cane, like he could collapse it. So
Wow.
to
Wow.
take it out when we were walking on these, because there's the big bricks, the cobblestone. It's not
Yes.
like you think, Philadelphia little bricks. We're talking big, ginormous rocks,
Right. Right.
and he fell over, and he had fallen multiple, like he had almost fallen multiple times. I had fallen when we had gone to Pompeii. Richie had to
Really?
catch me 3 times because I taking pictures and these ginormous stones in the ground, and I almost
Yeah.
fell over 3 times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're right, physically, and then the plane rides that are super long, and
Yes.
you got
Need
sick on the plane
compression
ride over
socks.
there. You got sick on the plane ride coming home, and
Right.
it's a
And
lot.
compression socks are needed, and all those things, and our joints, and and I praise the Lord that today at the age that we are, we're healthy, right? That's why I'm saying know your season. We have to know to dream. Know that there is a season to dream and there's a season to accomplish.
It's the
You
it's the
can't you can't live in a dream all your life.
yeah.
You cannot live in a dream your whole life.
Oh my gosh. Wow, you just dropped that bomb. Come on, talk about that. Because we got some people out here to always talk about, yeah, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do this. 10 years later, you talking to them and they're still like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, bro. You've been talking about this for 15 years.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
What have you done to see that come to pass? How have you prepared yourself? You
Yeah.
know? And so you can't be a dreamer forever. Joseph was a dreamer. Was it at 17? Joseph was a dreamer at 17.
Mm-hmm.
He had to. Look at that. We have a special guest on.
Hey, girl.
We have Carmen on Facebook. That's crazy. She's a listener all the way from Spotify, but she said, I'm joining in today. Let's go, Carmen Moya. That's my sister, y'all. So I'm excited she's on today. But we have, we have to know that there's a season to dream, there's a season to desire, and then there's a season where you have to act.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's where people miss it, right? Because some people, all they do is talk about all the things they're going to do and they never accomplish them, right? And
Facts.
then there's people who accomplish so much and they just keep accomplishing, but they don't take the time to enjoy the things that they've accomplished in their life.
So good. Whoa. Whoa. Horsey. Whoa. That was good. Because that was two totally different perspectives. Like the one that's dreaming, the one that's always in the cloud, the one that's like, oh, one day, mamita, when is your one day coming to pass?
Yeah.
And then you have the one that is fully assertive and has all the plans and then doesn't enjoy life. And that is crushing.
Yeah. And I would say I tend to go towards that because you're not just you, but in this season of my life, I steady have people telling me, so when are you going on vacation, like a real vacation? So when are you going on vacation?
I
Because you
want
know
to
me,
go. I
you
want
tell
to go.
me, and
Yes.
many other people in my life that are in my inner circle, right?
Right.
Stay reminding me, like, hey, you've been going for a long time. And you know what? Those are real people that love you when they can look at you and go, you need a break, like a real break. Go
Right.
enjoy your husband. Go enjoy. We'll be here. Everybody will be taken care of. You don't need to be here. Right. God
Right.
has got this under control. And you just need to go but I've always been, that I've always been that way. And if you let me, I'll keep going and I'll keep going and I'll keep going. And so now Richie and I were like, okay, after like the 40th time of everybody saying we need to go on vacation, we're like, okay, so where do we want to go? What can we do?
Right.
Let's just do it, and
Right.
so
And it has
it,
to get to that point because here's the thing, and this is out of experience. You can pour into everyone, and there's always something that's going to need to get done.
yeah,
But who is pouring into you?
right.
And I'm talking to leaders. I'm talking to pastors. I'm talking to leaders. You're constantly going. Business people.
And
The
parents,
first
moms and dads, right? Who are
mom
like
and dads,
taking the
sure.
kids to the car loop and picking them up and soccer
And that's
and
a lot. And you know what happens after a while, where you just keep going, going, going without stopping and enjoying? You start getting frustrated, you start getting bitter, you start getting tense, you start losing the simple joys in life, and that's not easy, you know. And you start stressing that, and your body can't heal if you don't rest.
let me tell you this, people don't think that this is true, but it is true. And you know this too, Alexa. When we I've been to a lot of funerals and I've officiated a lot of funerals too. And you can tell the happiest people by how they die.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like you can see their body and you could tell they look at peace. They almost look like they're sleeping. You know what I
mm.
mean? Because they just look so much at peace. And you can tell because they had the peace of the Holy Spirit within them. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? And so and they have enjoyed their life with the Lord, and you can tell by the countenance on their face. And then there's other people that you're like, why are we having an open casket right now? Okay? Because you can tell again by the look on their face, the stress on their face, the
Mm.
heavy lines on their face. They look like they have passed away with a frown on their face.
Oh,
You know what I
no.
mean? And it's the saddest thing. It is
Yeah.
it is actually the saddest thing because that does show up in how we
Yeah.
look and how we present ourselves to the world and whether or not we are enjoying the season that we're in or that we're just living in a constant state of frustration, you know and,
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
nobody
Ooh.
wants to live like that. and
And
and also, oh, go
and
ahead.
here, and here's the thing, for example, here we have four seasons, right? We have the spring, summer, fall, and winter. And every season is necessary. And
Yeah,
but if you skip a season, you're not going to produce the fruit that was necessary, for that
right,
every season had. Like winter has a season when you see all the leaves fall in the fall, and then the trees go barren in the winter. That's a resting season.
right.
That's a resting season for the trees, for nature, even animals. Isn't it amazing how God could create innately that the animal will know how to hibernate in its season?
Crazy.
And they, I mean, yo, imagine living like a bear, be like, well, it's nap time.
For
Five
6 months.
months later,
Some of us probably can't sleep for 5 months,
come
but
on.
yeah,
Like, but they listen, like all of creation understands that, man, all of creation understands the call of God to rest, except for humans.
oh, and you're right, because the Bible in the Old Testament and the New Testament talk about
Correct.
how important the Sabbath is, because
Right.
we need a constant reminder that we need to Sabbath. We need rest. We need to recharge. And it keeps telling us throughout the whole Bible, from beginning to the end, right? God modeled it for us in the beginning, and then he continues to to reaffirm that over and over and over again.
And
So
even
100%.
and even in the Old Testament, where after 7 years, he said, "Don't do anything to the land."
Right.
It's resting time for a year, you
Right.
know, because it's resetting. And some of us, we're in a season right now that needs to be reset.
Oh my God.
And I'm gonna tell you, it's me.
Yeah.
This ain't for nobody else. This conversation today is for no one else but me. I'm
Wow.
in a season right now that I need to reset. And I need to reset soon. My physical body understands that. My mind is there. Right before we went live, I told Jess, I was like, yo, I'm tired and I'm frustrated, you know. And I do have a lot of carga, on me. I have a lot that I do, that I enjoy doing. It's not that I don't. The thing is not not everything is something is a burden because you don't enjoy it.
Right.
And that's what you said, Jess. Like, I go, and it's because you enjoy it. You enjoy helping people. You enjoy serving. It is not a burden. And I'm in the same knit as you. I'm in the same cloth as you. You know that.
Yeah.
But however, there's a danger with us going so hard that we do not understand that this is not our mission, it's the Lord's.
Mm. Yeah. That's
And that
ooh.
sometimes we need to step away and let God be God, because he's grateful for us and he's given us the capacities that we have. However, if we were to step away today, God would have a predecessor. God would have a next person. God's work would always continue to go on.
Right. Yeah. That's the hard part, right? Is that ultimately, it continues because God continues, right? And so he's still doing a work in us. And you're right, there's always going to be somebody else who can continue the work and who will continue the work. But
Right.
ultimately we have one life and we have one body, and we need to take care of that and be a good steward of that while we still have it, right? Because life
Right.
truly is short. Because right now, right, we've lived more than half our lives, and the time towards the end, that's it. Like, it's shorter and shorter, right? And so we have to take advantage of the time that we have now and take
Exactly.
stewards of that, right? And then and
Right.
it's hard. It's
Are we being a good, so this is question number one, right? And we'll keep going with the questions. Are we being good stewards of our season right now?
mm, yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
ask it again for the person that decided that they wanted to turn away from the screen. Are we are we being good stewards of our season right now? And if you are, praise the Lord.
Yeah,
But if you could do better, like me, then we need to come and ask the Holy Spirit to reveal all things to us.
yeah.
I want to say this. Yesterday, my sister and I received a text. Our pastor he has finally announced that he's retiring, and he's been holding off his retire. He wanted to retire in January. He's been holding off his retirement because, and this is exactly what we're talking about. He's been looking for someone, for the right candidate, so that he can pass the baton. You know, because this is the work of his, God used him. He was the founder. He moved this. He was there for 30 something years, maybe 40 years, right? um but there has not been the person to come up, and he made a hard decision that he is going to activate his retirement effective next month,
Wow.
whether they find someone or not. And let me tell you, I applaud that. And let me tell you why. Because other people will be like, oh, well, he has to stay because how can he leave? There's nobody there. He doesn't care. No, he does care. He's cared for 30 something years.
Right.
He's cared about everyone, including us that we have left. We've no longer, we've left New York years ago,
Yeah.
including us. He still cared for us. Now it is what he's understood is his season is over and he's not going to prolong it anymore. You know what his next season is? Retirement. And you know what that means? I'm going to spend the last of my years with my wife and enjoy our life together after working so hard.
Yeah. That's so good.
That brings me to tears, because
Yeah.
there's always going to be people that want you to prolong your season. Hear me.
Right.
There are always going to be people, and just you understand, there's always going to be people that want you to outlive your season.
Yeah. Yep. You stay at that job a little too long. You stay, friends with that person a little too long.
Right.
You stay in that ministry a little too long, and then you're not good to anybody,
And
you
then
know,
you're not right. And
ineffective.
then estás deteniendo what could have happened.
Yeah. Yeah. You're stopping. Yeah. You're stopping the progress of what God wants to do, because you're taking space. You're taking up space, and we need to move out of the way and make space for other people, right, to come in and to begin their season. And so we just become a stumbling block to other people and what God is trying to do. And so, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So question number 2 is, if we are we prolonging our season and being a hindrance for someone else's season?
Right. Right. And here's the thing, when we overstay our season, we know that we've overstayed because we start feeling frustrated. We start minimizing, right? We start criticizing. We're like, oh, I do the same thing every day, whatever. And guess what? And maybe you've outgrown that season, and now you need to go do something that's more challenging, right? And you need to do the thing that God has prepared you for in that next season. So, and what in essence what's happening is that we're not allowing people to go down the assembly line of what God is trying to do, right?
Woo!
He
Go
prepared you,
down the assembly line, girl.
right? Because it's true. God had used that position or that role or that ministry, right? That time he prepared you to move on to the next station. And when you don't move, now everybody else is being backed up because God has prepared them for that place that you are holding. God's trying to move you forward, but you're not moving, and therefore God is not doing right. He can't move to the people to the next place. When we don't move, we're affecting somebody else's season. We're affecting somebody else's season. Y'all, let me
Oh,
tell you this. This is so good.
that
I
is
had a
so good.
principal. I
Go
had a
ahead.
principal. This is so good, y'all. Please, ministry leaders, listen to this advice that my principal would tell me every single year. I had an amazing principal when I was a high school teacher. The every staff meeting, she would say this. This was my first year teaching, and I heard her say it every single year until she retired. She would say, teachers, I love you, but if you're close to retirement and your heart is not right, you need to take the retirement and allow new teachers to come in so they can bring fresh blood and energy into these roles. So you need to get out of the way so that we can get fresh blood and fresh teachers, and we're never going to get them if you don't give up those positions. Retire,
Wow.
enjoy, do something else. Every single staff meeting, she would say that if you're close to retirement, you need to consider retiring because we need new teachers and fresh blood. Think about that. Think about that. It's true. What do new people do? New people come in and they bring energy, they bring ideas. They're crazy enough just to try all different types of things. Where sometimes when we get older, we're like, oh, that's not gonna work. Oh, that's not gonna work. Oh, we tried that. But you know what? Let them do it. Let them
Yes.
bring the energy. Let them bring how young people, how they do, they bring in the lingo, and they look cool, and everything they do is fancy, it's
Yeah.
just a different energy to things.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
year she said that. And you know what? Sometimes as leaders, we stay so long that we overstay our welcome. We don't let new people come in. We don't let new energy come in. All the young people now want to leave because we're holding on to roles that God never called us to hold on to. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Like, let's
Wow.
let's bring them up, prepare them, make
Yeah.
space for them. You know,
Yes.
you want to be a pastor to you 99, and God's like, bro, what we doing? Even Moses wasn't allowed to go into the promised land.
So here's what
Even
I'm
Moses.
here's what I'm hearing, and this is very important. Know your season and be aware of somebody else's season.
Yeah,
And do not be a hindrance to them because your season is up.
that's right. You know, we just gotta listen. God has something for everyone. He really does, you know, and some of us think, well, if I move out the way, then God is done with me. And the reality is that's not true, right?
No, it's not.
Just because we move out of the way, that means that God needs us to do something else. And what is that something else? That doesn't mean that we're going to sit on our rocking chair and we're never going to do anything. That means that now we can create a legacy. What do I mean by that? We can mentor other people, right? We can
Yes,
teach
yes,
them. We can pour
yes.
into their lives. We can write books. We can do a blog. We can, you know, we can speak.
We can stay on Las Locas. We can stay on Las Locas. We're gonna be here.
We can do las locas abuelas till you know what I'm saying, like we 85 years old. You know what I mean? Like
But
so
that is so good. I feel that some people outlive their season because they're afraid that they're no longer going to be useful. And we see this a lot. We see this a lot in ministry. We see it in corporate America. We see it in many places and spaces. And we have to realize that if we do not let go of a season, we can never enter into the next season God has for us. And you
right.
don't know how important that season is.
Right, because it's a different level, right? It's a different level because look, our God's calling always remains the same, right? To love God, you know, with all our hearts, with all our minds, and all our soul. And then the second thing is to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, right? God's purpose and calling is always the same. People are like, oh, I want to know what my calling is.
Yeah.
Well, this is what your calling is. How we do it is always different, right? And in each season,
Right.
how we do that, the strategies change, right? So if I'm going to love God with all my heart, with all my mind and all my soul, and I'm going to love my neighbor, what does that mean? That means I'm going to be equipping, I'm going to be a loving people through it. I'm going to be equipping them, I'm going to be preparing them, I'm going to be sharing my knowledge, right? I'm going to be mentoring them. Like there's so many things that we can do in that, right? That we don't have to be afraid that God is never going to use us because God is always going to use us till our very last breath, whether
Right.
that's interceding for our brothers and sisters, whether that's interceding for our children, whether that's taking the right, like there is so much work to be done that retirement actually is non-existent. It's just a different season of life, right?
Period.
And so
Yes.
we just have to realize that God is just going to use us differently than what he has used us before and not be afraid of what God is doing,
Right.
right? So, you know, again, my fear is that I would become ineffective. And I
Mm.
think your fear is the same way. And that's why we made that promise to each other in the beginning that when we felt that this season was over and that we're no longer effective in doing Las Locas, that we would release each other without feeling,
Right.
you know, sad or bitter or whatever, knowing that God is in control of what happens next with what we do here,
We
right?
said
Because
from the very
I mean,
beginning.
he may move us into a new season where we're doing something new.
Right. And you know, we can't, and that's what seasons are. You know, seasons come, seasons go, and there's always a new season. There's
Right,
always a new beginning somewhere. And no, yeah, it's hard. It's like being the new girl in a new school, right?
right. You're not the new girl always.
You're not the new girl always. You're not the new girl always. And man, I don't know why we had a whole you were going somewhere else with like the trends and well, you know, we started with skinny jeans. We started with skinny jeans and let me say
And just like skinny jeans, it's time to move on.
it's time to move on. So, here's the next question. What's your next move?
Mm,
Because you can't stay here. What's
No.
your next move?
Yeah.
Some of us need to move relationships. Some of
Yeah.
us need to move out of our jobs. Some of us need a mental move. We need a that season and how you thought that needs to shift. Now God's giving you a new way of thinking. Some of us need to move into a new season of how we speak.
Oh, that's good.
Some of us need to move into a new season on how we love.
How we manage our finances.
Some of us need to move into a season of good stewardship financially.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us need to finally go into a season of healing. You've been in
Ooh,
a season of hurting for too long.
right.
You've been in and that season, once you stay in a season of hurt for too long, you become a victim. And sometimes you plant your roots in that season of victim and there's no getting out.
Yeah.
So now it's time to uproot and go into your season of healing so that you can free others.
Right.
Some of us, the season, in a relationship has passed, and now it's time to move on to uncleave, break soul ties.
Yeah.
You wanted your marriage to work and it didn't happen that way. It's time to move on. And I'm not talking about get remarried. I'm just talking about a mental shift, a heart shift. What season are you going into? Because we identified the season in the first question. What season are you in? And then the next thing that we said, right,
Yeah.
is what season are you going into?
Yeah.
Because you will always have another season as long as God gives you life.
Right. Yeah. And here's
And
the
we
thing.
don't
Some of us
have
are
to.
praying for seasons that are not coming because we can't let go of the old season. And God's like, I can't have you living in two seasons. One needs to end for the other to begin. And so, in
Amen.
order for it to end, we have to let it go and say,
Release
okay, God, now reveal to me what is the next step
it.
that's going to
Correct.
bring me to begin the new season. And
Man,
so,
I
so
feel like this. I feel like the Lord is really speaking as you're saying that, honestly.
yeah,
I
yeah,
really
even
do.
yeah,
Let me tell you something that was so powerful that happened 3 weeks ago. We were in a business meeting and things did not go the way that I had imagined because I really want to see change. I want to see good change. Um, and I was very saddened by the results.
mm,
And there was someone that it was a race to see who was going to be an overseer of a certain department, and um, I couldn't believe that the scale leaned to one side, where this one side was going to continue a certain pattern that I feel that this season is over. Right, is what we're talking about. And if we were to lean to this side, then we would prolong the season and there would
mm,
be more death. Because what happens when you prolong seasons, things die.
correct.
And so I was so devastated that afterward my husband went to the other person who was running and didn't make it, um, and said, "Man, congratulations. I'm sorry it didn't work out." And listen to what he said. He said, God is God is so good that he knew they weren't ready for new wine.
Ooh,
Because
that's
what happens when you put new wine in old wineskin?
mm-hmm. It
It'll
bursts.
burst. It will not be able to sustain it.
Right.
And that is what you're saying when you're trying to drag in an old season into a new season. It
Yeah.
doesn't work
They don't commingle at all.
at all. And you're trying to hold on, you're latching on, you've got a grip on it. No, I need to drag it. I need to bring this into the new season. We need a new season. And God is like, I'm sorry, but it's not going to work that way. It's either you terminate this season so that you can walk into the new one, or you're going to stay there.
Mm.
And that's where we have the mindset of the 40 years in the desert.
Right. Walking around the same mountain over and over and over again. You know, because they just couldn't. They couldn't change their mindset from a slave to a free person. And
And,
and that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what we do in our careers, in our homes, with our family.
so
This
good.
is parents, ruin relationships, with their grown children because they want to still treat them like they're in middle school, or that they're in high
Wow.
school,
Wow.
and think about it. You're right. When you said that, that's what I thought of. That's what I thought of, parents who still treat their kids like they can't make a decision on their own, and I know it's hard, right? Because we have to make that shift in our mind that they're not our babies anymore. That's, they're going to make decisions. We're not going to be happy with every decision that they make, but ultimately,
Yeah.
they're adults and they have to live life just the way we were allowed to live life and make the decisions that we wanted to make. But what happens when you keep treating your children, your 40-year-old son, like he's 16? This is where parent, right, where kids then start, disconnecting, cutting the umbilical cord, and this time it's permanent because now they can
Wow.
literally stop calling you. They can block you. They can,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
instead of
And I
being
think
respectful
about
of who they are now.
and I think about the conversation that we just had about if you stay in a season too long, other things are gonna die. What you just said right now, ugh, it goes to parents, or to you, yes, to parents that have kept their kids in a season of adolescence, and now their maturity has died. Staying
Mm,
with them because they don't have another option. They don't know how to move forward. They don't know how to get a job. They've been so isolated that they're incapable of having social conversations and connections.
right.
And so you kept them in a season for too long.
That's good because we know people like that too. Become so codependent. What and basically what you have done is you have disabled your own children. You have disabled your own children. That instead of pouring into them, right? Because the goal of a parent is never to keep our children with us forever. The goal of the parent
No,
is the goal of the parent and in our lives is
in our
to
life.
equip them
That's it. Train. Uh-huh.
to go off on their own,
Right.
right? And be who God called them to be. Not just for our
100.
children, but for everybody else around us, people in ministry, in our churches, the people that follow us, the people that we lead, right? Is to always equip and to train so that they can go off and fulfill the purpose that God has on their lives.
Right.
And you know what? And a lot of times we in essence we are disobeying God when we
Wow.
debilitate our children and we
Wow.
debilitate the people that we lead as well.
And that's why I don't baby people. And you know that.
Yeah.
You know that about me. And I will train you in a way where I'm like, come with me. Just come with me. And I want you to be here and in the room, because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
Listen, Jess, we gotta finalize, because and this could be a part two, right? Because we're talking about not prolonging, not staying in a season, but there's also something to be said. We're not gonna get into it right now. There's also something to be said about rushing a season.
That's good.
So we got that for next time. But Melissa from work, she said something, and Jess, you're gonna next on the next Locas, not next week, but maybe the following when we're live. I need you to unravel this, okay? Because she messed me up. She says, I thought they were the same age when we spoke about Naomi. This is what I just looked quickly on the internet. It said Naomi was likely in her 50s. Boaz was older, traditionally in his 80s, and
Wow.
Ruth was in her 40s. So I need you to, next time we're gonna open up, because I need to know the ages of these people, okay?
That's a
Um,
good question.
and of course we knew that Boaz was older than Ruth, but I
Yeah.
didn't know he was that much older. You feel me? But
Yeah.
that's
I
for a
would
different.
I would have kept his feet covered. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, listen, we gonna get into that conversation later. But Jess, what was the other trend that you said? And we're gonna end with this. We're gonna end with this.
Listen, a 100% no. Jelly sandals. Boo, boo, boo.
She
I,
said the season for jelly sandals was back
it's
in the
over.
80s. It was the
That's right.
80s, early 90s when the jelly sandals came up. And guys, your girl got 2 jelly sandals. I just bought them. So let me know if that season is over. Let me know that season is over. Let me know that season is over.
Jelly sandals, yay or nay? Let me know in the
Put it
comments.
in the chat right now. Are they in season or are they out of season? We said no to the skinny jeans. That season has ended. That season has died. But here's the thing: what my mother always told me, everything comes back
That's
full
true.
circle.
But that
Everything comes
means
back full circle.
stay away.
Right. So listen, we're talking about seasons. We've spoken about seasons, and there are some seasons that repeat.
That's
But
right.
did you learn the lesson the first time? So when it comes around, you navigate it differently.
Right.
Today, in your journals, you have an assignment, and the assignment is: what season are you in? What season are you going to? Are you impeding somebody's season? And who are you taking with you to your next season?
Oh, those are great questions.
Okay, write those questions down. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. 4 questions on this season. And I believe the Spirit of God spoke today. We love you, Locas. Sis, I'm going to see you in New York this week. I love you. God bless everybody. Have a great day. And we'll see you next time on Las Locas.
Locas Chronicles.